Throughout history, artists across cultures have turned to nature not just as a subject, but as a source of emotional and spiritual reflection. While traditions differ in materials, styles, and philosophies, one truth remains consistent. Art is a dialogue between the outer world and the artist's inner self. This essay explores how Western Impressionism and Post-Impressionism, art movements that emerged in 19th century Europe, and Chinese lyric scholar art, which flourished centuries earlier in Imperial China, both express deeply personal feelings through a shared reverence for the natural world. Despite vast differences in technique and worldview, these traditions reveal striking parallels in how artists engage with nature as a mirror of their inner lives.
Impressionism, painting the light of the moment. In the late 1800s, artists like Claude Monet, Pierre-Auguste Renoir, and Camille Pissarro challenged the rules of academic painting. They left their studios, painting outdoors to capture the fleeting impressions of light and color. Known as Impressionists, these painters were less interested in exact detail than the sensation of a moment, the way morning fog rolls across water, or how sunlight filters through the leaves. Their brushwork was quick, their colors vibrant. They painted modern life, gardens, rivers, train stations, not to document, but to reflect how the world appeared in motion, filtered through the artist's perception. Post-Impressionism, turning emotion inward. The next generation, post-impressionists, pushed these ideas even further. Artists like Vincent van Gogh, Paul Cézanne, and Paul Gauguin used bold color, symbolic form, and expressive brushstrokes to reflect their own emotional or philosophical states. Van Gogh's night skies swirl with longing and turbulence. Cézanne's mountain landscapes are built from layered blocks of color, aiming for a kind of structural harmony. Gauguin turned to myth and memory, painting visions shaped by imagination rather than direct observation. These artists were no longer just painting what they saw, they were painting what they felt, using nature as a way to explore identity, belief, and experience. Chinese lyric scholar art, painting the spirit, not the form. Long before these European movements, Chinese literati painters, also known as scholar artists, were creating works based on a similar philosophy, art as a means of personal expression through nature. Dating back to the Song, Yuan, and Ming dynasties, these artists were poets, philosophers, and calligraphers who painted not for a living, but as a form of moral and spiritual cultivation. Their medium was brush and ink on paper or silk, not oil on canvas. Their focus was not realism, but what they called qiyun, the spirit resonance of a scene. A mountain might represent strength, a plum blossom, quiet resilience. A scholar seated beneath a pine tree was more than a figure. It was a metaphor for solitude and reflection. Artists like Nizan painted sparse landscapes with empty spaces, expressing clarity, distance from worldly affairs, and inner peace. Like the post-impressionists centuries later, they used nature to express the self, rather than simply to depict it. Where East and West meet. Despite their differences, these two traditions share a profound commonality. They express inner emotion through interaction with the natural world. For Monet, a pond reflects changing light. For Nizan, a riverbank reflects the quiet of the mind. Van Gogh's brush trembles with intensity, echoing his struggles. Ma Yuan's waterfall flows beside a solitary scholar, lost in thought. Whether through thick oils or gentle ink, both artistic paths reflect the truth that nature is not just a subject, it's a companion, just a lens through which we understand ourselves. Differences in style and philosophy. Yet the differences remain essential. Western artists embraced movement, energy, and often rebellion, working in color, breaking away from academic tradition. Chinese scholar artists embraced stillness, discipline, a long-standing philosophical tradition rooted in Confucianism, Taoism, and Zen. Impressionism captures the world in motion. Painting captures the mind at rest. But both, in their own way, elevate feeling above form. They remind us that the goal of art is not just to replicate, but to reveal. Conclusion: art as a bridge between outer and inner worlds. Across time and cultures, artists have returned to nature not just for inspiration, but for connection. Through sunrise and mist, starlight and ink wash, these creators reveal a shared human desire to feel the world, to let the world feel us in return. Whether in a French garden or a Chinese scroll, true art breathes when it becomes a conversation between the world outside and the soul within.